Welcome to the Have Good Ripple Effect podcast. Let's jump right in. Welcome back to the Have Good Ripple Effect podcast. I'm Lisa Even, your host, and today we're talking all about being at the edge of our abilities. I read an Adam Grant quote that said, "The common narrative is that kids learn faster than adults. But if you watch any toddler play, they spend a large portion of their day attempting things that are on the edge of their ability." I've got teenage children, and I can 100% say he's right. Even now, my kids spend probably more time than I'd like on the edge of their abilities. They're always learning new things and trying new things. And when they were babies, learning to, roll over, walk, crawl, they did. And it's fun to think back at how determined they were to gain a new skill. They weren't worried about whether or not they were going to fall. In fact, oftentimes I was right alongside them being like, okay, don't fall. Okay, don't do that. And it really made me think about what amount of time I spend at my edge of my abilities as an adult. Do I spend any time? I sat down with my calendar and started looking, and I realized that I don't actually spend a ton of time at the edge of my abilities. And I kind of want to be. I want to be learning new things. And I know there's no time and there's no extra money and there's no all the things, right? All the barriers that are in the way of being at the edge of our abilities. And I wrote down on a sheet of paper, so what? So what that there's not extra time, extra money, extra brain space because life is always busy. But what if I actually happen to the world, not the other way around? What if I take my own advice and actually start to pursue some things that are at the edge of my ability? Now, I've been pondering this for about 2 months without very much success. And it wasn't until I started reading, okay, be real. I don't have a ton of time to sit down and read. So I often listen to audiobooks. But it wasn't until I started listening to Mel Robbins' book called Let Them. It's a great book if you haven't read it. A lot of it is common sense, but I think it's a great reminder. The premise is really that people will have thoughts and ideas about who you are and what you do and how you show up. Let them. Stop caring about what people think. Don't give that energy away. Don't give your power away. And it really collided the two ideas that I've been thinking about of not letting people, get in my headspace about what they think about me. But I think there's also something in there hiding, at least for me, and maybe you feel this too, that sometimes I don't go to the edge of my abilities because I'm worried about what people will think. And not worried in the sense that I spend all day, every day being like, well, what are they going to think? I'm so worried. But more like, oh, I should really try that. And then I have just that fleeting moment of, well, what if I fail? Or what if someone says, what got into you? And then I kind of push it away thinking, nah, I don't need to do that. And in my moment of realizing that maybe I care more than I would want to admit about what people think, I also realized I have to let them. I have to let people think what they want to think. And that gave me a lot more permission to be at the edge of my abilities. And the other thing that I don't know, realized about myself over the years is that if I sign up, I show up. And so my goal over the next 6 months is really to start thinking about what are the things that are maybe a little bit on the edge of my abilities and then sign up and show up because I started workout class about a year ago. And the parameter is that you have to sign up. And if I sign up, I show up. And so for me, giving myself a little bit of an accountability buffer, like an accountability buddy, is that. And so on my list, I haven't found one yet. So if you know of one, I'm hoping to take an improv class to learn more about being funny and having humor. And it kind of scares me because I wouldn't consider myself an overly funny person. I like to have fun and I like to be clever, but I want to take that class to push me to the edge of my abilities. Now, I think there's something to be said about having an in the moment mantra, something that when we're standing there and we're thinking, no, I'll do that later. I've got too much going on. I can't, not right now. When we start to justify the reasons not to do the thing, to not be at the edge of our abilities. Some of my favorite mantras, and hopefully these maybe help you too, or remind you of one that you used to use. Some of my favorite mantras when I'm thinking about doing something new or trying something that pushes me further are these, and I have 2 or 3 of them. The first one is, "Without the risk, there is no story." And I like to think of my life as a story that I'm partially writing, a story that the world sometimes writes for me of things that I can't control. But if I were to think about my life as a story, if I don't do some things that feel a little past the edge of my abilities, a little risky, then there is no story. So no risk, no story. The second one is, everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. So if I get into this and I don't like it, well, I'll just figure it out. And the third one, which has been kind of funny and more like interesting to watch play out, is oftentimes before I do something that's hard, I will say to myself, "You're not afraid. You're not afraid of this." I don't say, "Why are you afraid of this?" I just say, "You're not," because that gives me the like, "Yep, you're right. I'm not." Now, what are you going to be doing over the next 6 months alongside me to be at the edge of your abilities? I would love for you to share with me what's on the edge of your abilities, whether it's maybe something to do with a new hobby or work. Maybe you're being a little bit braver and leading a project or trying a new, way of functioning. Maybe it's fitness that you're like, I know I need to be at the edge of my abilities. I think I'm going to sign up for a class. What is going to be on the edge of your abilities? Now, I mentioned the improv is one. The second one for me, and maybe a couple others, is that I dream someday of having a product line. And I often find reasons why I shouldn't do it. Well, it's expensive. Well, they always say, well, and so I'm going to take a few next steps to be on the edge of my ability related to a product line. The other one is, I'm going to continue to push out videos and recordings because being in an empty room with a camera and a microphone just makes me almost twinge and feel so awkward. Those are some of the things that I'm going to do to be on the edge of my ability. What about you? How much time do you spend at the edge of your abilities? And number two, what are you going to add to the list? Now, this is just something to think about, but I would love, love, love for you to reach out on lisaeven.com. There's a contact us, or on social media. What are you doing to be at the edge of your abilities? As always, like, subscribe, follow, send this to your friends, and we'll see you next time on Have Good Ripple Effect. Thanks. Thanks for listening. Visit lisaeven.com to learn about events and grab a copy of my book, Joy is My Job.